It's time now for Fantasy Football Today for CBS Local Sports. I'm Jamie, that's Dave. Let's get right to it with the quarterbacks that you want to start and sit for week number 9. And we're going with Matthew Stafford as the starting quarterback. Why? Because he has a good matchup this week against the Green Bay Packers on Monday night. I think you look at what Stafford has done in his last 5 games against the Packers. Very good production, specifically his last 3 games at Lambeau Field. 8 touchdowns in those 3 games. And I like the way Stafford's playing. Should have had a big game against the Steelers. Just missed scoring a touchdown with over 400 passing yards. And then you're sitting Kirk Cousins. Looks like he's going to be without Jamison Crowder, who was his best receiver in week number 8. Jordan Reed not expected to play with that hamstring problem, offensive line issues, and oh, by the way, you get a trip to Seattle. Sorry, Kirk. Not going to be your day.
It's going to be a tough game for Kirk. It's going to be a good game for Alex Collins of the Baltimore Ravens. He's really stepped into that rushing role, and I think he could end up having another 100-yard game against the Tennessee Titans. Not sure I buy into that Titans defense as being great against the run. The Ravens will stick with the run, and I think Collins has earned even red zone work and goal line carries, something that he didn't have earlier in the season. Get him into lineups. CJ Anderson is falling out of his role in Denver. We've seen Devontae Booker take more work away from him. Jamal Charles is going to get 10 snaps a game. It leaves a lot to be desired for CJ Anderson. I'd be happy if he had 80 total yards in the game against Philadelphia. They're on the road, 3rd straight week in a row. I think it's a tough spot for CJ Anderson. I would get him out of your lineup.
2 wide receivers who are expected to be must-start options for you week in, week out have been relatively disappointing for the majority of the season. But AMARI Cooper, 2 games ago, huge game against Kansas City, then last week against Buffalo, rough performance. But the thing about it is 19 targets against the Chiefs, 10 targets against the Bills. So 29 targets in his last 2 games coming into this matchup with Miami. And Derek Carr has attempted over 100 passes in those 2 games. So with the running game struggling, I think you'll see AMARI Cooper continue to get featured. And I love this matchup against the Dolphins. I hate the matchup for the Eagles against the Broncos. And why Carson Wentz may play well, I think it's going to have a lot to do with Zach Ertz, not necessarily ALSHON Jeffrey, who had a good fantasy game last week, but only 2 catches. And so I think you see the way that he's been playing. He's been a dud so far this year. So while Wentz has been fantastic, it's been Ertz, it's been Aguilar, it's been guys like Mac Hollins. Jeffrey going against the no-fly zone, no thank you for your fantasy team.
And I know that Andrew Luck not coming back to Indianapolis anytime soon. Jacoby Brissett will remain under center for the rest of the way, and that is great news for Jack Doyle. Last 3 games, 7 catches, 6 catches, 12 catches in week 8 for over 100 yards with a touchdown. He scored in 2 of his last 3 going up against the Texans defense that I don't think is very good against the pass. And even if they are, Indianapolis is going to throw a lot in that game. Jacoby Brissett with a lot of short passes to Doyle. He is a top 5 tight end this week regardless of format. I think he will be excellent. Benjamin Watson is the opposite of excellent. He doesn't have a game this year with even 10 fantasy points in a standard league. Maybe he's a little bit better in PPR formats, but against Tennessee, I think Baltimore takes a conservative approach with the run. Benjamin Watson, not somebody fantasy owners should roll with in week number 9.
There you have some options for you to start and sit for your fantasy teams in week number 9. For Dave, I'm Jamie. This has been Fantasy Football Today for CBS Local Sports.